Zombified.
The monsters are living under your bed, 'cause they are the voices in your head. Zombified by the lies they said, we've become the walking dead. 'Cause everybody's like an edge. Oh no, they'll never let go of something you said 10 years ago. They're canceling you. They won't stop till everybody's zombified. They're pumping us with lies like it's formaldehyde. We're dead inside. It goes on and on, let this go. When it stops, we'll never know. We're hypnotized, and they won't stop till you're zombified. You better shut your mouth and bite your tongue, 'cause you don't wanna piss off anyone. We're traumatized by the damage done. Welcome to America. 'Cause everybody's like an edge. Oh no, they'll never let go of something you said 10 years ago. They're canceling you. And they won't stop till everybody's zombified. They're pumping us with lies like it's formaldehyde. We're dead inside. It goes on and on, let this go. When it stops, we'll never know. We're hypnotized, and they won't stop till you're
Zombified.
They're feeding off your broken mind. They won't die, they multiply. We've become so fucking blind. They won't stop till you're zombified. Pick it up. Now everybody's zombified. They're pumping us with lies like it's formaldehyde. They're dead inside. It goes on and on, let this go. When it stops, we'll never know. We're hypnotized, and they won't stop till you're. They won't stop till I'm. They won't stop till we're all zombified.
Zombified.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to KPOD, the podcast, the dark side of on an election night. I'm going to let you guys know right now, I have very, very strong political opinions. I tend to keep them to myself. I'm hoping you guys could give me a break tonight. All right, one night every 4 years, and I could just kind of go ahead and bust out here. There goes the cat. Look at that. Every time, Belle. Every time. I'm kind of hoping you guys can give me a break and just let me do what we used to do way back in the day. One night a year, or one night every 4 years. I don't think that's asking too much. So hopefully you guys can indulge us, have a good time, get some takeaways. There we go. KPOD, the podcast, is your home for rational crypto news and objectivity, leaving emotion at the door. talking about what we like, why we like it, and where we see it going. We are not offering financial advice, certainly not tonight. We are telling you what we do, and that is all. We don't slow down. We don't let up. Full speed is our only speed. I'm your host, Scott. Pragmatic investor. Die hard all the way down libertarian, and who was won and lost fortunes. And joining me as always is the greatest producer of all time, the one, the only, the original, the mighty Bell. How are you doing tonight, Bell?
You know what? I'm doing fantastic. This is how we started, guys, and I'm looking forward to being back at it.
You know, that is the funny thing. This is it. This is what turned us into what we are and what we developed into and all that stuff. Now, I'll grant you that, man. Well, look, we had a lot more viewers and a lot more action when we were doing politics and since we started doing this. But you know what? It's not about the views. It just isn't. It's about being able to speak your mind, say what's on your mind, and that's kind of it. So here at KPOD, the podcast, we have a tendency to talk about what others are not talking about and bringing the focus on use case cryptos because, as we know, these are what drive the market and bring innovation to a world that desperately needs it. The status quo is no longer acceptable. It's time for technological revolution. Welcome to crypto. Welcome to the podcast, and tonight, welcome to the very old school podcast because I'm going to have my say. One night every 4 years. All right. I'm not asking for a lot. And if I keep glancing over here, we're monitoring like 4 different stations right now, trying to get in polling results, polling information, all that stuff. So I only have up ABC, and I think Bell, what do you got up? What are you actually looking at over there?
I am currently looking at KCCI here in Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. You're gonna have to pull up CNN too. Let's just everything but Fox, because I already know what Fox is gonna say, and we don't want that. I want to know what everybody else is saying. That's where the fun really comes in. So yeah, look, I voted today, and I. No apologies about it. I went in. There was a funny one though, man. I'll tell you what. If you want to have some fun. If you really, really want to have some fun, if you haven't voted yet, you're probably too late unless you're really, really West Coast. And I wouldn't really bother over there. You know what? I'm going to make the call right now, Bell. We got some official results in. I want to bring you up on the screen. I want to make sure everybody can see it. We got the official results in. And Washington State, Oregon, and California have all been called already, and they all went to the all went to Harris. So round of applause for the West Coast. You really don't have to count over there. I mean, it really doesn't matter. By hook or crook, those things are going to be blue, stay blue, and they're never, ever going to change. It really doesn't matter about quality of life over there. That's the funny thing, and I don't get it. You know, I've been back to California for a few years, but there's a reason that I left and that I'll never come back. It is absolute just ick. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, it's to the point where Twitter just left. They packed up everything, Twitter, SpaceX, everything, and just got the hell out of there and moved it all down to Texas. I can't say I'm thrilled with that. You know, I mean, it's great for Texas. Lots of business, lots of money coming in. But you're going to bring the people that from there to here, and eventually here is going to become there. It's just a matter of time. So it's kind of funny to me that it doesn't really matter what happens in that state, how bad it is, the shit in the street and the open rampant drug use and just how bad it actually got driven into. And people still continue to vote for the same thing over and over and over. It is just simply reliably Democrat, and it'll stay there. The only time that in my memory that I remember that West Coast flipping is for Reagan, and I think it was Reagan when Reagan and Mondale were having a go at it. And I think the only state that Mondale carried was Minnesota. Minnesota has been a lost cause for a real long time. And think about that. How bad do these people have to hate anything with an R next to its name? That one state out of 49 went for Mondale and everything else went to Reagan. It's just kind of funny about that. But that was including California, Oregon, and Washington State and all that. But since then, people don't do a lot of campaigning there, and there's no real question why they don't do a lot of campaigning there, because they know they already won the state. The same reason that people don't come to Iowa, Wyoming, and the smaller electoral states, because it's not worth their time. So they just stick to the battleground states. They don't visit down into the red wall too much, and they definitely don't go into the blue wall that often, because there's no real point. I could call New York right now. All right, right now, without a single vote being counted, I can call New York right now and say that it's going to go Democrat. There's a reason that it's called the blue wall, and it will absolutely. It's just simply not going to break. So yes, the Harris campaign, they hit real hard in all of the swing states. They made that token appearance, I think, down in Texas for one thing, and it's mainly to support down ballot candidates. That's it, because you could always get a congressman out of these things. That's not exactly a huge thing, but. Yeah, that's just kind of the nature of it. So we're making the call. It's official right here on the podcast. Oregon, Washington State, and California stayed blue, and well done. Big round of applause for the people that are going to get to continue to deal with that bullshit over there. But that's me. Anyway, like I said, if you want to have some fun, if you want to have a good time, if you didn't get to vote yet, please do. But if you didn't, then when you're standing in line, I dare you, I double dog, I triple dog dare you to talk to the person next to you, near you, anywhere around, and say that you simply can't decide who to vote for because they're both so good. Now, I hope that you're in a line when you say that, Mel, because what do you think the blowback of that's going to be?
Oh,
I want to see people go at it.
you know what? I think that's a text to send to my oldest daughter since she is of voting age and I've already voted, so I lost my chance to pull that stunt. But yeah, I think that's a text I should send to my oldest daughter right now.
Definitely send it out there, and if anybody hasn't voted yet, please go do it. You know what's even better? Have this show streaming live and with the volume on as you're standing in line, and let's make friends, man. All right, because if there's one thing that we know about politics is it's all about making friends and finding common ground and shared interests and wrapping ourselves around all of those things. So yeah, it's I wouldn't do that, but that would certainly be a fun way to do it. All right, there is so much to get to on this tonight. I'll tell you what, I was gonna stay pure politics, but we're gonna hit just a little bit of crypto because it was such a good damn day, and it's kind of fun seeing what's happening here. So we had some big institutional money pour into Bitcoin. Bitcoin got a pop. Bitcoin got a correction. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, and it really is going to depend on who wins this election. Honestly, man. Now, in the short term, let me correct that. In the short term, it's going to matter who wins this election, and if Harris wins, I don't think in the short term you're going to see a hell of a dump off. I think people are just going to bail out. They're not going to really want to sit through all of this and wait for all of the blowback of this. I think they're just going to kind of bail out. And if Trump picks it up, then I think we're going to get a nice little pump. Now you couple that something like a Trump victory with an interest rate cut, then yeah, I think it's just nothing but good times, good skies for crypto as a whole, or at least Bitcoin. Crypto is going to be what crypto is, but at least for Bitcoin dominance is going to go into effect and continue to carry away, and yeah. But it definitely added some happiness over into my personal portfolio. The interesting one for me, it's outperformed virtually everything for me today, is that one right there, Spice. For those of you not familiar with Spice, it's nothing. It's a meme token. Now, I did mention this on the Discord before, during the stream swap, before it actually went live. I did happen to mention this. I said, hey, take a look over there. You never know. I didn't sink much in it. I think I put like $1,500 worth of Osmo that I'd just been holding on to forever and ever. I went ahead and dumped it up there. It became Spice. I've recovered my $1,500, and that's all the white meat. So I got no problem just letting that thing run away and just run wild. Everybody should buy Spice. Pump my bags, do that for a change. I'm not going anywhere with it. We'll just let it go and see what happens. But it's actually funny to see anything in the cosmos that's actually getting a good carry. So I'm happy with it. I have, aside from the fact that I bought it, I have nothing to do with it whatsoever, and we're just going to kind of see what happens in that. And it gave a few good tokens over here, one hell of a good carry. I think I was at about 302 or something like that this morning, and finishing up the day at 324 for about $20,000 gain. I'll take it. I'm happy. I can't really bitch. I think a lot of it came from Power Bottom. Jackal's been performing pretty well today. The star of the show today is hands down Omniflex. Omniflex just kind of ran wild, and it didn't get there's a good amount of trading volume on that at 2.25. That's a really decent amount of trading volume for Omniflex. It's been more of a kind of a sleepy one. Market cap is still good. I didn't see anything that would have given me an indication that thing's going to pump up 30% or that it should have. So I'm still holding what I hold, but I wasn't out and aggressively buying anymore. I think it's going to correct down. I'm sure it's going to correct down. So we'll look at it on the other side. But yeah, there you go on that. And honestly, guys, look, man, unless I get some kind of real wicked carry pump up here, that's about the only thing that I'm going to be talking about crypto wise tonight. I want to get back to the fun stuff. I want to get back to Twitter. Twitter's just been glowing. So. Bell's been cherry picking some articles and sending them out here, and I've been having a good time with this. And this one is from Fred Jellybeans. Trump, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan, and Peanut the Squirrel team up to crush the deep state. I just think that's funny that they threw in the whole Peanut the Squirrel thing. I think that was a riot. And if you guys, you know what, you guys know the story. You've been following the story.
It's invaded everyone's Twitter feed and has taken that over.
It's freaking everywhere. And, I think people are missing the big point on this thing here. Now they are. I see a lot of people attacking them up there. Well, you should have a license, for a fucking squirrel. I'm not going to license a squirrel. You can't keep that as a pet. It's a rat. It's a tree rat. Are you honestly this concerned about the health and well-being of everything up here, and particularly where they were located? Because they were in New York, Belle, right? That's where they were located?
Yeah. That was New York, and a woman from Texas called in and filed a complaint.
Yeah, and the best part, I mean, you got to be shitting me. You live in a scum bucket city. I mean, there are rats the size of chihuahuas that are out there. I mean, you got and this is the concern. This is the thing that burns your ass, to the point where you had to set up and literally raid the guy's house to get the squirrel. To catch a goddamn squirrel. I mean, the only thing that would have made that better is if SWAT was there. So if SWAT poured in with the machine guns and the ARs and all that, just blew the hell out of the guy's house trying to get the squirrel because it's coming right for him. Could be rabid. You don't know, Belle. You don't know. Could be rabid. It could put a small bite on your finger, and then you get lockjaw, and then you die. These people are just looking out for themselves. But that's New York, and it's just funny to me that people continue to live in this kind of filth and misery, and they're okay with it, and they continue to vote Democrat. They continue to support it because they want more of it. And it's just shocking to me that this is where we are, in the world. So when I see something like that on X, yeah, man, it cracks me up. Let's see. What was the foobar of the day? And I'm sure this will get debunked or turned around or twisted, or somebody's going to do something. Kamala. Is it Kamala or is it Kamala? I really don't care. Hopefully, this is the very last time I ever hear from her. All right, this could be the very last night that we have to deal with that cackle. So I'm hoping that it works out real well. But she was at a phone bank. Apparently, they're still doing the Jerry Lewis muscular dystrophy telethon thing and calling people and telling them, get out and vote if you haven't. And she was faking a call to a voter. She's just randomly calling voters and talking and cackling it up. And then she sits up there and she turns her phone around, and it's on camera. That's it. She's talking into the camera, and people have already jumped all over that because you guys know how the internet is. People have already jumped all over that because they're saying, nope, there was a green dot. She was on a call, and other people have blown it up and said, yeah, there was no green dot, dude. She was on her camera. But it's kind of funny to me how everybody out there is still, why is she bothering? All right, look, you're not going to turn the tide now. What's done is done. You could have turned the tide by going on Joe Rogan. You could have turned the tide by doing that, but you didn't want to do that. You wanted to go on Saturday Night Live instead, where you have a nice, safe, comfortable, scripted audience. That's where you wanted to be. So if you really wanted to stand out and say, look, I am simply different, go on Rogan. Rogan would have given you a fair shot. It's clear that you guys are ideologically not aligned, but isn't that the point? Is that not the point? You don't want to spend your time talking to people that you agree with. You want to spend your time talking to people that you disagree with and seeing if you can find a common ground, a middle ground, some reason to get them to like you. But politics, modern politics, we don't do that. It is echo chamber versus echo chamber, and that's it. So I don't understand why you're wasting your time there. And the funny part is that Joe Biden is not coming to your viewing party. The president is not coming to see you take your big victory or get crowned or something like that. He ain't even going to be there. I think that is the ultimate right there. Just thumbing his nose at you, because deep down, if anybody knows what you did, he knows what you did. You are a 100% created, fabricated candidate. You're the first one in the history of this country, I think, that is running for president without receiving a single delegate vote. Nobody voted for you. You were installed. And I don't want to say that. I'm not going to go that far, Bell. This isn't 5 years ago, all right? I can't do that this time, but I was about to keep ranting away on that stuff. Anyway, Bell, we got some music to get to. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns, or observations? Because we got a shit ton of stuff we got to get to.
All right. So, yeah, G-Tor is commenting different kind of show tonight. Like it.
Yeah, and I warned you beforehand. All right, look, I'm very, very opinionated and very, very passionate, and I'm voting for my own self-interest. Now, I happen to believe that my self-interests are most people's self-interests. So, you can call it altruism or whatever you want. But sorry, man. Look, I got access to grind just like everybody else. So I'm going to vote for my own self-interest. In this case, I already did just that. And I despise what the other side is doing. The gaslighting, the endless fucking gaslighting. I am so sick of this shit. And all of oh my God, man, all of the Twitter fan fiction bullshit that they keep posting up. Bell, it makes me think about something, Bell. I was at the supermarket the other day, and I was buying, they always get very, very specific, by the way. I was buying Oreos and Thin Mints and a home enema kit. And as I was standing in line, I struck up a conversation with the person behind me. They were wearing a red MAGA hat, and as we discussed, I started talking. They pointed out that they've been a lifelong Republican and it will never, ever, ever change their mind. So I started talking to them about Kamala Harris and all of the different policies and how they are personally in their interest. And we talked for about 45 minutes while we were standing in line, ready to purchase a home enema kit. And by the end of it, we shook hands, we hugged. She patted me on the ass lightly and said, you know what, you've changed my mind. I am definitely going to be a Democratic voter from now on forever. And that was the end of the story. But you get endless amounts of this shit up there on Twitter, and these things, they literally read like Twilight fan fiction. And it's just person after the bots and the money that they poured into this is just obscene. I would love one person to just get up there and say, this is what she's going to do, and this is specifically how she will do it. But I have not seen that shit in 4 months since she'd been running. I haven't seen it in 4 months. Now, I'm not giving a pass to Trump either. He said the same shit, and nobody has actually gotten into specifics. But one way I could see possible, and the other way I can't. And that's really where it comes down. I'm sorry, Bella, I interrupted you. Politics, son, we're back in our wheelhouse
now.
I know. And you know how I am.
This whole thing has been nothing but bread and circuses. I mean, it is a show. I really wish more of the people who are actually libertarians that are currently flying under the Republican banner would just own up and admit to being libertarians. Come on.
No, man, they can't, man. Look,
I know they can't, but I wish they would.
It is a very fearful combat sport type of environment that we live out here in this political world now. And that includes disclosing that you're actually a libertarian. I am a libertarian. I am a libertarian of the Thomas Jefferson kind of bent. I think a little revolution is good every now and again, particularly in a country. It lets that ruling class know, real ruling class, governing class. It lets the governing class know that you're paying attention. So I happen to agree with that. I think a little revolution is good every now and again. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have that. All we have is big government or bigger government. And I'll do whatever I can to try to keep myself as far away from that as I possibly can. Bell, questions. Carry on,
All
please.
right. So, code serial West Coast will always win Democrat. Makes you not want to vote in the presidential if you want otherwise.
Yeah, and it's not going to change, dude. All right, it's been like I said, Reagan. That's it. Look, Nixon can go to China, and Reagan can win California. That's it. Those are the things that should be chiseled into stone right there. And that's it. Nobody else is ever going to win, but a Democrat is ever going to win that, which again just amazes me. Are you telling me your life is better now than it was 20 years ago, living in the state of Washington or Oregon or California? Are you telling me that conditions are better now than they were 20 years ago? It would eventually, even the stupidest person banging their head into the goddamn wall is going to stop and say, you know what? Maybe there's a different way. Maybe I can go around. Maybe there's a door somewhere. Maybe there's anything but banging my head into the wall. But they, it's allegory of the caveman. They're comfortable. They've created their own reality, and they honestly think everybody wants to be like them. That's the funny part. They're like, boy, I can't wait until we convert the rest of the country, and then it's all California. Won't that be great, Belle? I'm certainly looking forward to it. Carry on, ma'am.
Okay, so G Torres, most of my family in New York City is voting for Trump, and they are all Democrats, so you never know, Scott. I voted for Trump for the third time today. I'm from New York, so the first time I voted for him versus Hillary, some people thought I was crazy, but now a bunch of them are voting for him.
You know, I hope so, man. I think it'd be funny because you know what? If New York ever flipped red, swing states don't matter anymore. I mean, that's it. They literally would not matter anymore. The one thing that Democrats have been able to count on for decades is New York, and then everything that runs northeast from there, except for maybe one vote in Maine, because I think Maine does not, they don't know, they award it by district. So I think there's like one little electoral vote in Maine that has a tendency to go red, but everything else is just deep dark blue all the way from the northeast all the way down. And that's it. But I'd love to be proven wrong. I would love to go up here and say, you know what, I fucking missed that one, man. Go New York, man. Big fan. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to swim in urine and eat hot dogs and do all that stuff, man. I would love to be wrong on that one. I don't think I am. But I would absolutely love to. The funny part is, again, guys, I'm looking at some of these returns. I shouldn't be. I know Belle's watching this. I should be focused on what I'm doing. But no, it's just funny how quick they like to put these things in. With 1.38% of the vote counted, we're willing to concede the state of California is going to go to the Democrats, and there's a round of applause. That's on ABC. So. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the democratic process out there, but that part's already kind of over. All right, Belle, question, go.
All right. We actually don't have any further questions, although Microman did jump in and say gray squirrels are vermin over here.
You know what, dude? They're vermin everywhere.
Yep.
All right. They are tree rats. I have no issue shooting squirrels. All right. I don't want them here.
That's a primary food group in Alabama.
Yes, any of the southern states, man. They're kind of cool, noshing down on squirrel and possum and all that other stuff. And I can't eat that. I don't know if I get hungry enough. I guess sure, squirrels. I've eaten a lot of rabbits. Rabbits are easy, man. God bless that animal to be eaten. That's its job. I can fully skin a rabbit and spit it inside of about 5 minutes with one single cut. That's an animal that was designed to be eaten. There's no fat on it. You can't really survive on them. There's not enough nutrients in them. But they're, you know what? If you cook them right, put a little, get some salt, little garlic on there. It's not bad, man. Germans have Hassenpfeffer. So, that's as close as I get to eating things like that. And I've enjoyed rattlesnake. I grew up in Arizona. So I've eaten rattlesnake. Tastes a lot like chicken. It's not bad. It tastes a lot like chicken. It tastes like chicken, Belle. What the hell do you know? What do you know? You grew up in Tennessee. How many rattlesnakes do you guys have? You ain't got rattlesnakes there.
Oh, yeah, you know. Oh, yes, there are.
We were just there, Belle. We were just there, and guess what? I didn't see any rattlesnakes.
Oh,
All right,
that's
my
because I
logic
didn't.
is sound.
That's because I didn't drag you far enough south. I guarantee you, I know where the rattlesnakes are.
Okay, next trip we're gonna go down. We're gonna shoot and eat a rattlesnake. We'll do. We'll stream it. All right, we will stream it live, and we'll eat the damn thing. I'll cook it up. I know how to do it. We'll cook it and we'll eat it, and then we'll see what it tastes like. Good enough, deal? Huh? You know where they are. I'll go shoot them.
I've had rattlesnake before.
When? But you were young. You
Yeah,
were young.
I
Do you
was
want to
young.
actually? Do you actually want to debate this? Because you know I'm going to win. It has nothing to do with you being right. It has, the ability for me to say, you know who else really likes rattlesnake? You know who did not? You know who didn't like rattlesnake? You know who said it was just icky and they refused to? Hitler.
I know.
Hitler didn't like rattlesnake. I'm just saying. All right, and I noticed that you drink water and he drinks water. The similarities here are getting a little bit eerie, Belle, don't you think? Huh, Fraulein? Huh? Mein Fraulein? Is that where we want to go with that one? All right,
No.
hit a couple comments. We'll play a song. We'll get back to it. We have so much to get to. We have people that are coming in. We're getting some of the results out of Georgia, which will never, ever be called tonight, by the way.
And more polls are closing in 4 minutes, 23 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, in Pennsylvania, I think they extended the voting deadline out to like November 15th because, why not? And if you can keep, extending the voting deadline, then you'll never declare a winner. Pennsylvania is a swing state. There's so much that's hanging on that. And if it takes them 4 years to litigate it and count it, then, hell, there you go, man. It's not that you didn't vote. It's just the election can't be certified because Pennsylvania. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, Belle, hit any of the comments. We'll go play a song and we will get back to it. Go.
All right. So comments coming in off of Twitter. One in you. I still want to know what your political channel is. I can tell by listening we are aligned.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna, brother. You know what? Scour the internet. All right, you'll find it. I promise you. I have a hell of a lot more views and followers on that than I do on crypto anymore. Belle, go.
That was actually the last one for the moment.
You got to be shitting me.
Nope.
All of
People
this,
are listening.
This fire, this heat, this brimstone. You guys got nothing? Okay. Then let's come back and dazzle you here. We'll come back and dazzle you after we play. You know what, Belle? I was going to open this one. I'm going to go ahead and play it now. Belle already knows what it is. Let me get the screen shared with her with the sound before we actually cut over to it. And yeah, hope you guys are enjoying the show tonight. We used to do this, but our shows over there were 3 hours nightly. And it was pretty much this kind of fire and brimstone. But let's go ahead and take a break. Let me fill my glass, and I hope you do the same. Hope you guys are enjoying your time here on the KPOD, the podcast, and we will be right back.
Headbangers in leather, sparks flying in the dead of the night. It all comes together when they shoot out the lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to KPOD, the podcast, the finest in the finest in election night coverage. And let's see, we're getting some in. The lovely state of West Virginia and their 4 electoral votes. Projected winner is Donald Trump. Ohio, 17 electoral votes. It is still not in. They're going to be counting. I got a hunch Ohio's going to get hung up for an awful long time. And let me see. That's it. That's the only one that's been called in. So West Virginia. Thank you, I guess. Thank you, I guess, for going one way. Let's hit into some of the fun stuff. I think you guys are going to like this. From Clint Russell. Now, this has been working its way around Twitter a little bit, but the idea of this... Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia have all been called for Donald Trump. Jim Justice, Senate, West Virginia. Now, I know that we're all so very, very much focused on the presidential election, as if the president really has that kind of influence on the Congress. And, in a correctly running world, it doesn't. All right, look, you got to understand how it works over here. Microman, I'll mention it to you. We have 3 separate and distinct branches of government. We have the judiciary, that's our Supreme Court. We have the executive, that's our president. And we have the legislative, that's our House and Senate. Now, all of these are co-equal branches of government. And in the case of the executive, his or her job is to enforce the laws. That's it. That's your job. You don't make law. You don't just, we've bastardized it with all these executive order bullshit. But most of that goes through is because Congress is just too weak-kneed to actually stand against them. They just won't do it. They say, oh, it's executive order. We have to let that go. We don't have time to actually go back there and block any of that. We can't do it because we're too busy talking about school bus crossings or some other bullshit that we always tend to do. But the president really doesn't have the kind of power that you think he has or she has. So it's interesting. But you know what? If you de-educate, diseducate, uneducate a population, and you no longer teach civics in high school, then you get what you get, and we got what we got. But in this case, this is what's funny. So Oprah went on behalf of Kamala last night, and she stated, and I quote, "It is entirely possible that we will never have the opportunity to cast a ballot again if Donald Trump wins." Now, that's like gaslighting to an extent that is, that's beyond stupid. That is just ridiculous that you would ever think something like that, or that you would even say something like that. And the funny part is that they always fail to mention that he was actually president for 4 years. He was actually the executive of the United States for 4 years. And you could still vote now. So if this is so hardened into his soul, the whole fascist, Nazi, dictator, I'm going to take over everything, why didn't you do it 4 years ago? 4 years ago. Why didn't you do it when you were president last time? But we just kind of gloss over those things. They don't matter because it didn't happen immediately. Therefore, it never happened. And, the public mindset is really no different than the crypto mindset. Goldfish memories. If it didn't happen 10 minutes ago, it effectively never happened. They're getting in some Miami-Dade vote right now. Trump is currently carrying Miami-Dade County 55.1% to 43%. And Florida is going to be interesting because I know that there's been just an awful lot of talk about Florida being a toss-up state. Florida went for what was that guy's name? Bell. Who was that? The whole climate change guy. What's his name? Al Gore, right?
Yeah, that was Al Gore.
Yeah. That was the last time that Florida has really, really been in play. But they're still trying to gin it up, that as if Florida is really going to be some kind of toss-up state. Now, the longer we keep going, Florida eventually will be one of these toss-up states, because all the New York jagoffs that get so tired of just getting up there, getting brutalized by their own government for some reason, they all start moving down to Florida, and they all seem to end up in Miami-Dade. So it's one of those things. You can't bring everything from there to here without here becoming there. So eventually, through migration, through we'll call it government migration or oppressive migration, eventually Florida will be blue if they keep going like that. And when that happens, that's it. We're either Democrat or Democrat light. There's going to be absolutely no middle ground on that. But Yeah, this is what she put out there is it's pretty close to the way the entire campaign over the last 2 years has been ran. You're not voting for somebody, you're voting against somebody. But that we'll never have an opportunity to cast a ballot again. If that was going to happen, it would have happened the last time that he was president. And I know we want to pretend that he wasn't, but he actually was. And that's another funny part for me. They keep pitching up Harris as the most qualified individual. Obama was the last one, the most qualified individual to ever hold the office. And then this time it's Harris, the most qualified individual to ever hold office. But you're running against somebody who actually was president. So where's the bar here? I mean, is that all it takes is just say that you're the most qualified and you are because somebody else actually was. And, the world kept turning. The country kept going. We didn't get invaded. Everything was kind of cool. And there you go. Another one. Here you go from Johnny Maga, the tiny town of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. I had no idea there was such a town, Belle. Did you know there was such a town? Dixville Notch, New Hampshire.
No, that sounds yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone because my mind went to the gutter hearing that
Yeah,
name.
I know, 'cause you're a filthy girl. The tiny town of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire has a tradition of midnight voting. In 2020, Joe Biden received all 5 votes. Trump received 0. Tonight, Donald Trump won 3 of 6 votes. So let's give another round of applause here for Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. That's with that many people voting in that town, man, you got a real Hatfield and McCoy thing that could be ginning up over here. So keep an eye on Dixville Notch. They might be close to war, just inside of themselves. It has nothing to do with anything. I just thought that I'd point it out. I think it's funny. 3 polling locations in major blue areas of Fulton Cobb and Gwinnett counties are going to stay open later because of bomb threats originating from Russia. Now, I don't know if you remember. Yeah, you could get the expression off your face. Well, I'm beyond nothing will shock me. Nothing is really going to surprise me up here. But it's kind of funny how immediately they started figuring out that it was Russia. That Russia, somebody over there in the Kremlin, is picking up a phone. They're dialing Fulton County, Georgia, and saying, we have plant bomb. You must evacuate. Bomb go off soon. It's just funny to me that how quick they managed to get that back and say it's Russia. It's Russia. If you remember the very first 2 years of Donald Trump's original presidency, Russian collusion. That was it. The Steele dossier, all that other shit that completely got debunked to hell and gone. And I forget the name. Jeff remembers because I know Jeff goes way down the rabbit hole. That's Political. What was that guy, that special counsel that they appointed for like 2 years? The guy spent like 120, 130 million taxpayer dollars investigating the Russia collusion. And at the end of it, they came out and said, yeah, there really wasn't any. This is fabricated. This isn't true. Yeah, we have no proof that any of this happened. But it literally stymied his entire first 2 years because of Russia collusion and Russia hoax. And I just kind of see something like this as what worked before will certainly work again, because once it's ingrained in people, even though it was completely debunked, all right, there was none of this, people still believe it. They still absolutely believe it all the way down. And it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what proof you present to them. They are comfortable in their allegorical cave, and they do not want anything that's going to warp the shadows on the wall. So now that Georgia is such a major swing state in this place, that, of course, any bomb threat that may or may not have been called into any particular polling county must have came from Russia. And if it came from Russia, by the transitive properties of the fallacy of division, if it came from Russia, it must have been sprung up by anybody that's wearing a red hat. We all know this. Everybody knows this. So it's just funny that the old playbook is still alive and well over here. And there you go. Here you go. Another one from Story County Precincts. Worried about an issue at your voting location? Here's what to do. Ballots will be hand counted at all Story County precincts where I'm sorry, I'm not catching all the rest of that's on KCCI. I'll look it up. So all the voting machines crash, nothing works, and every single ballot is going to have to be hand counted. So what they're putting out is don't expect any kind of response tonight because counting is hard. I mean, look, Bell, you go 1, 2, 3, 7, 38, 912, and it's tough, man, because I don't know if you've ever thought about this, Bell. I really want you to think about this for a minute. There are a lot of numbers, all right?
There really are.
And I'm not sure anybody knows all of them. We simply don't know all the numbers that exist. So it's going to be very, very difficult to count all of these things in a single night. And it really doesn't matter how many people you get in there. It's going to take a long, long time to count all these ballots. And yeah, we're hearing more and more of this stuff.
And actually, that article's been refined. I can definitely report on that one.
Go for it.
So votes from 12 polling places in Story County, home of Ames, Iowa, where the Cyclones reign supreme, where voting machines failed, will be hand counted once the polls close at 8 p.m. Story County Auditor Lucy Martin said ballots at those locations have been placed in an emergency bin and will be counted tonight. Then on Thursday morning, she said she'll request an administrative recount of ballots from those precincts. That recount is expected to happen Friday. Martin said some machines did not read certain ballot styles at about 12 of the county's 45 polling locations, including the Dawkins Community Center in Zeering. Nicole Fletcher spoke to KCCI outside the community center and said the issue does worry her. Last election, there were worries that votes weren't counted properly, so that is a concern, she said. The Iowa Secretary of State's office provided a statement. We are aware of technical issues regarding tabulators in some precincts in Story County. The auditor is working with the vendor and our office to resolve it. It is not stopping anyone from casting a single ballot. It may impact how quickly we can report the results. We will follow up with more information as it becomes available.
There you go. And that's in Iowa. All right, guys, that's there's 6 electoral votes in Iowa. All right, we're not the ones that are going to spin or that are going to really affect the election here too much. The Electoral College. Like it, love it, hate it, doesn't matter. All right. It is, in fact, in, and that's not going to change. Now, if you want to change it, there's a process for it. All right. And it's called amending the Constitution. You go ahead and do that and knock yourself out. So it's just kind of funny that even here in Iowa, which there's not a lot of question over here, even though I did get canvassed when I was leaving, Bell. I saw this, no shit, with my own eyes. I did get canvassed, and of course the guy asked, who did you vote for? And I said, I voted pretty much Republican up and down. I wrote in the libertarian candidates on effectively everything else. And there you go. And I literally watching his little pad of paper as he tick marks that I voted Democrat. So, I only have so much faith in exit polling. But, there you go, with a grain of salt. And I voted, where I voted, right up there at the DMV.
I do.
Yeah, right there on Euclid. So that was my actual place in there. They're putting a lot of time on Georgia. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking over here, and they are hitting they are spending a lot of time on Georgia. It's going to be swing states, guys. That's it. All night it's going to be swing states. If you're living in one of those red states, odds are good it's going to stay red. And if you're living in one of the swing states, that's where it's going to happen. Now, do I believe that we're going to kind of see what we saw last time? I do. And deep down, all the way down. Oh, look, there's Chris Christie. Boy, he's fat. Oh my God, he's fat, man. I mean, I thought I was a little overweight, man. I'm practically we could do Laurel and Hardy, myself and Chris Christie. We could absolutely do that. But the reason that I'm paranoid, and Jeff, you might want to listen up here, Political. Yes, your name is Jeff. I just doxed you. Go fuck yourself. What are you going to do? The reason that I think we're going to have that kind of malfeasance again and that there's going to be some shenanigans, because I believe that last time that there were shenanigans. I can't prove it, even though I think a lot of people have come out and make very, very strong cases. I can't prove it. I don't know. So That's it. But I'm allowed to have an opinion. I don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy either. I know because I fired rifles, and I'm a pretty good shot myself, and I couldn't have made that shot. But it doesn't matter. The big thing for me on this is that we have not become so politically divided up there that a candidate like Joe Biden would receive 20 million more votes than a candidate like Barack Obama. Now, I was basically everything Barack Obama is, I'm the opposite on effectively every single position. And he completely lost me with his red line in the sand. And when they crossed it and he just walked slowly back the hall, yeah, well, cross this line now and this one. He showed the entire world his ass. And when push comes to shove and he's actually pushed to it, the guy's a pussy. He wouldn't do a fucking thing. But the fact that he is such a good orator and that he can rally so much emotion in everything that he's doing and everything that he's saying. But you're going to tell me that Joe Biden, all right, this career politician that has effectively done dick his whole life, with the exception of filibustering the Equal Rights Act, which he did do, is going to capture 20 million more votes than Barack Obama. That right there is enough for me to say, nope, whole thing is horseshit. But there's nothing we can do about it. There isn't. Unless you're willing to pick up a rifle and start marching north, there's dick you can do about it. And as a country, we've had enough of our spirit kicked out of us that we're not going to do anything like that. So it's pretty much bread and circuses from here. But it's going to be a little bit different this time, and there will be shenanigans, but they don't have to be as widespread as they were with Joe Biden, because we've managed to energize and politicize everything that happens in this entire world now is binary. It's either for us or against us, and if you're against us, you're our enemies. So with that being out there, and they don't have to have such widespread shenanigans in this case. Only a few very, very targeted, surgical, isolated things need to occur to flip one or two of the swing states. That's it. That's it. So I happen to believe that the plans are in place, and we're going to actually see if they're going to come out on this one or not. I don't think much of Harris as a president or as a potential president. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. I don't care. I think Margaret Thatcher was wonderful, and if I had to represent myself as anything, it would be that Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher got together and had a love child, and I was what popped out. So I hope Microman's listening, because that's going to piss him off right there. I know they don't like that. Oh, there we go. Projected winner is Bernie Sanders from the Senate in Vermont. He's a projected winner with 6% of the vote in. That's how ingrained they are up there. In freaking Vermont, that they're going to send old Bernie back up there, Bill. How does that make you feel? Because you know what? I cannot get enough of this guy. He goes on a show every single Friday, and it's Lunch with Bernie. I never miss it, because just everything about the guy irritates me, and I need that kind of influence in my life. I need something that's going to piss me off endlessly. So of course I turn in and listen to the declared socialist talk about all this shit, which is funny with me. For me, by the way, is Bernie Sanders. The guy owns 3 houses. He's a fucking millionaire. All right. He's a socialist. Yes, he declares himself as that. But the funny thing about socialists is that socialism is for the people. Socialism is not for the socialist. So you don't see Bernie for all of his bullshit. We have to support immigrants. I don't notice that in your 3 properties. I notice that there's not a lot of immigrants living in the houses when you're not there, Bernie. I notice that there's not a lot of shit that you give up so that you can support the immigrants that you want everybody else to support, Bernie. And as much as I love to listen to your bullshit, that's exactly what it is. But Bernie is never going away. And you know what? He's going to be like, oh, fuck, what's his name? The liberal lion, fucking Ted Kennedy. He's going to be like Ted Kennedy eventually. This guy is going to live his life on the fucking dole. He didn't have a job, an actual paying job, until he was in his fucking 40s. But everybody adores him. Everybody loves him. And they continue to send him to the Senate over and over and over, man. If there's anything that represents American politics more than Bernie Sanders, I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, Bella. I interrupted you. What were you had something?
Yeah, you were talking about things that really, really irritated you, and yeah, I
Yeah.
can't, yeah, I can't believe things like this have actually flown under the radar. During the whole Brittany Griner thing, there was a person that actually had been jailed in Russia on spying charges that it took a lot of outrage from the populace after Brittany Griner was brought back from Russia in order to get him out. Everybody just forgot about him. He was arrested in and jailed in Russia on in December of 2022. He did not get released until this past August. Okay, and
Yeah.
that was Paul Whelan.
Oh yeah, I remember Paul. Yep. It's well, I mean, it doesn't tug at heartstrings. And no country wants to give up any form of political capital unless they're going to get a return on this. Now, Brittany Griner was popular. She's up there. So it's of course it's okay to expend political and nationalist capital to get her back because everybody's, excited about that. And the person that we released to get her back, you know what? Not going to go into it. I'm just not, because that's one of those things that really gets my blood flowing. So I'm going to kind of take a pass on that one. There you go.
The choice was made by our government to get a basketball player out of Russian jail when she got busted with pot.
And
And
you
yet,
think,
and
yeah.
yet you couldn't put the work in to get an ex-Marine out of Russian jail for charges that there was no evidence to substantiate.
No, well, I mean that's a weak executive. That's all it is, man. They have no fear. I remember I remember. You know what? I don't even want to go back that far. That's too much, and most of the people on the stream aren't going to remember it anyway. But something happened when Ronald Reagan was elected to his very first term of office, and it actually happened the very before he was even inaugurated. I'm not going to drill into that. You guys can go ahead and look that one up for yourselves. But when you have a strong executive like that, a lot of the bullshit that happens simply doesn't happen. Now, I'm kind of hoping that some things are going to get really, really, really scaled down if Trump actually pulls this one out tonight, which I believe he will. I believe he should, but I'm not exactly sure that he will, because there's just too many variables in here that simply can't be accounted for. But I remember when Reagan took office. I remember and I was young. I mean, I was like 10, 11 years old. I was a conservative even way back then, man, because it's just, little things. You could you could start to pick up on it. I don't think one becomes a conservative. I think one is born a conservative, and there you go. Or one starts to acquire goods and services and land, and then they slowly become a conservative. I think if you're a conservative in college or something like that, then you have no heart. And if you're a Democrat / liberal when you're 40 years old, I don't think you have a brain. But it doesn't matter. That's kind of past it. All right, so from Coco, that's clarified on X. Jill Biden, that's Joe's wife, wore all red to vote. As the wife of a Democrat politician, there's no way she doesn't know how this looks. Biden and Jill are pissed. Now, Joe knows what happened to him, even though, I mean, his faculties are gone. Look, anybody who watched that debate and has watched him deteriorate, the guy's old, all right? He's way, way past his prime. He's not the Joe Biden firebrand of old. He is just simply past it. But it's kind of interesting that the country still continues to keep turning all this time when we've effectively had no executive whatsoever. And this has been for years, guys, not months. It's been like this for years. The deep state is alive and well. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. It is. And whether you believe in them, they damn sure believe in you. So it really doesn't matter who's up there in that executive type of position up there, because they're just going to get eaten up. Now, it's my hope not my belief, but it is certainly my hope that Donald Trump will bring in the people that he said he's going to bring in. And when I said, I talked about it this morning, I'll talk about it again, that I am effectively a single issue voter in this case. Government needs to shrink. It's too big. All right. It's too big. It's too oppressive. It's too overwhelming. And this is, it's simply no way to live. And if we don't start chopping off some of the heads of this Hydra, it will basically consume everything. You're going to have half the country that works for the government, and their whole job is to oppress the other half of the country that doesn't work for the government. And you give it enough time, and we're certainly going to get there. We've been on this road for a while now. There's a little known historian. He was actually a professor of Roman antiquities in Edinburgh, at the University of Edinburgh, and his name was Alexander Tytler. If you're not familiar with Alexander Tytler, do yourself a favor, look it up, read his theories. But he was of the opinion that every nation, every civilized nation, goes through 7 distinct stages that can be pretty well mapped. And as he was a professor of Roman history, he's got a pretty good data group to form his opinions. But he pretty well worked through these things through different societies through over the ages. But they always begin in bondage. Now, bondage, it's a metaphor, whatever you consider bondage. So for the United States, let's just pretend we had a king, Microman. We had a king over there that could that really had nothing to do with the U.S. whatsoever, with the colonies, but he had authority over everything. He could tax you whimsically. He could do whatever the hell he wants. He could hang you. It doesn't matter. So let's just call that the metaphorical bondage of the United States. But it goes from bondage to what Alexander Tytler declared was a spiritual awakening. Now, it could be religious for you. It could be non-religious. It doesn't matter. But what he was indicating there is that you get to a point where you say something has to change, and enough of the population believe that. And in this case, we're just going to call it a spiritual awakening. But you go from a spiritual awakening to courage. Now, that's the time that you actually have the shot heard around the world from the Old North Bridge. That is courage, is where you pick up the rifle and you put yourself in harm's way to enact change. And for us, it goes from, and according to the Tytler cycle, it goes from courage to liberty. Because once you have thrown off an oppressor, you will not have another one. So it's not enough that you got one king 1,000 miles away versus 1,000 kings 1 mile away. You are simply not going to have it. And when you have fought a war like the United States did, the War of Independence, and when you've loved, you struggled, you've lost, people have gotten just absolutely massacred, and all of the brutal visages of war are a mile from you, you have a tendency of remembering those things. So you go from courage to liberty, and you go from liberty, interesting, to plenty, because when mankind are free to pursue our own devices, to take raw materials and turn them into goods and services, but to actually live our lives the way that we see fit and not the way that we're told, mankind tends to thrive. And in this case, the United States, we certainly did, because after the War of Independence to where we actually let off, I don't think any nation made the technological, spiritual advances that came out of the United States, because people were more or less free to do what they wanted to do without governments putting that boot on their neck. But problem is what happened since about Woodrow Wilson. So you go from plenty to apathy. You stop caring. You stop paying attention. It doesn't really matter. Things are good. They're always going to be good. And we are willing to give up a little bit of liberty for a little bit of security. And when you do that, you lose liberty and you don't get security. So you give up one and you've gained nothing. That's apathy. You stop caring. Things are okay. We're willing to give up a little bit, then a little bit more, then a little bit more, then a little bit more, because we just want to be left alone. See, that's apathy. And when you go, where you go from apathy is you go right back into bondage. Now, if you don't think you're there metaphorically, we're not talking about chains on the wrists.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You skipped a step.
What step did I skip here, hon?
Dependence. You go from apathy to dependence and then back to bondage.
Sure. Okay. I did skip a step because we're already independents. We are already in the state of dependence.
And
That
this is
means
where Kiz and I actually disagree. I've brought this up multiple times on the Friday night stream that I do on my own, usually because Scott's not there. But yeah, Kiz is of the opinion that we're still fully locked in apathy, and no, I think we are actually toward the tail end of dependence.
I don't think most of this country, they're not prepared for liberty. They're not prepared for self-reliance. They're not prepared that you only eat what you grow. You only reap what you sow. I don't think I don't think the bulk of this country is prepared for this. I think we are fully in dependence, and you have. There's no real good way to say it. Look, man, the governing class has always squeezed the middle class to appease the lower class. That is just the way that it is. We're getting some calls over here in North Carolina that they're not done yet, so I'm not really worried about it. With 5% of the vote in, they're almost calling North Carolina for Harris. I'm like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. But now, we as a whole, we're locked in dependence. That's the social safety net that we seem to pivot out to everybody else. And all that means is that you're allowed to fuck off and still survive on somebody else's work and effort. And I'm not a big fan of that. But anyway, you go from dependence, and yes, you go Florida. Florida was just called for Donald Trump. That's 30 electoral votes. Round of applause. 77% of the vote in, and they called Florida. So all of your bullshit that Florida's in play and don't you worry about it. You guys are just delusional, absolutely delusional that Florida was going to flip flu this time. It's not going to. Let me see. Missouri was called. Tennessee was called. Alabama is called. So the whole super Arkansas, Oklahoma bell is called for Donald Trump. They were literally putting Oklahoma in play on that one.
Shock and awe. We're talking
Harris,
Oklahoma.
Massachusetts has been called for Kamala Harris. That was never in question. I don't think Trump even went there. Maryland has been called for Kamala Harris. That's 10 additional electoral votes. Never in question. That's the blue wall. District of Columbia, guys, that's D.C. 3 electoral votes has been called for Kamala Harris. And Illinois is still in play with their 19 electoral votes. Florida was kind of the big one. And let me see. New Jersey's still in play. They haven't finished that one up. New Jersey's going to go blue. Connecticut's going to go blue. Mississippi, they're still like that's the one's in play. Maine is going to go blue. New Hampshire is going to go blue. Mississippi will go red. Just give it time for them to finish up the count over there. Let's see. What else do we got here, guys? Rhode Island is still in play. They haven't finished the count yet. Delaware, it's going to go blue. Don't even, Rhode Island's going to go blue. Delaware's going to go blue. So those are all the calls that we have right now. All right, guys, we have to sum all of this stuff up. Do we got anybody even watching, Bell? Should we carry on? Because I know we already went an hour, but I feel like we're just getting warmed up on this one. What do you think, Bell? Bell? Are you muted?
We do have people watching.
Okay, let's go ahead and carry on then, guys. We got a lot. Oh, Rick Scott has been the projected winner for senator from Florida. Guys, you guys really need to pay attention to this one here, man, because if they flip the Senate, the House is going to go red. I have no doubt right now because it's all about down ballot, and I know that some of you are deeply in love with Kamala Harris. She was an exceptionally flawed and weak candidate, and the down ballot is going to be affected here. You're going to start to see this shit come out, and you know what? The one thing I'm looking forward to more than anything else on this is just to watch these people cry like they did when Hillary lost. You remember that shit, Belle? Do you remember that one? Do you remember the screams and the cries and the tears? You remember all that?
Yeah.
I want to relive that. So I'm not going to be jaded. It's one night I'm allowed to be a prick, and there you go. So anyway, guys, let's play a song. Let us recover a little bit. We have to gather up all of this news. We want to give you accuracy. So if you could hear, hang on, let me share because Belle likes to hear the intros of the song. So let me get that set up for it. Belle, we got 3 or 4 of them up here. Which one do you want? I'm thinking a little Judas Priest. I got no problem with that if you want me to hit the button.
I'm thinking Judas Priest.
All right, guys. Little Judas Priest coming at you. This will get us actually demonetized everywhere. Little Judas Priest coming at you right here on KPOD, the podcast, guys, and we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to KPOD, the podcast. Thank you for all of your accurate and extremely opinionated election night coverage. Welcome back to the podcast. I've been sitting here watching this for about 3 or 4 minutes now over on ABC, and all they're doing is starting to pick apart counties in Georgia. If any of the fuckery is going to happen this year, like it did during the last one, it's going to happen right there in Fulton County and Macon County, Georgia. That's it, hands down. That's where the bullshit is going to happen. There's 16 electoral votes that are kind of on the line there. I know they're holding on to Wisconsin, they're holding on to Pennsylvania, and they're holding on to Georgia. Currently, right now, total vote count across Georgia is Harris, 862,000, Trump, 1.132 million, but they continue to come back to Fulton County and Macon County because this is kind of the way that it works over here. If you take a look at the broad electoral map, that's actually kind of funny, how the counties in all of these individual states vote. Iowa is effectively all red, two little pockets of blue, one right there in Des Moines, Iowa, one over there in Cedar Rapids and Waterloo up along the industrial corridor. That's where the colleges are, and that's where they tend to swing very, very blue. We don't have a lot of people over here in Iowa. Don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it is more or less controlled by those two regions right there. And the only thing that that changes that or swings that in any way is basically Des Moines, is which way Des Moines is going to swing. Now, the fact that they're not touching on it at all tells me that Iowa is red. That's it. They're pretty well good to go. Here we go. We got some in from Pennsylvania. I can't see around my booze bottle. It looks like, from what they counted up there right now, it looked like that Harris was sitting at about 432,000. Trump was sitting at 390,000. It's another very, very close one. Those are the ones that they're going to be, if any fuckery is going to happen, it's going to happen there. It's going to happen in Pennsylvania. It's going to happen in Georgia. Georgia is the one that I would be most concerned about. It's just there's a lot that's going on. House seats right now, Democrats 83, Republicans 112. But as they've called so many of these red states already, down ballot, guys. Look, at it's just the way it is. Whether you like it or not, most people have the attention span of a gnat. And when it comes to politics, they're single-issue voters. Right now, they just push the whole abortion thing just entirely too hard without giving any real context to it. Now, I have no say in any of this. You do you, bro. But the whole idea that it was South Carolina projected winner Donald Trump, 9 electoral votes there. There was never really a doubt on that one. It's not South Carolina that people are concerned with. It's going to be North Carolina because, again, there's a lot more of that northern influence is pushing into North Carolina as opposed to South Carolina. So, that one's going to be in question. Currently, right now, Harris has 22 electoral votes. Just scrub that completely out. The entire West Coast, is going to vote for Harris, and I don't even know how many electoral votes California has, like 54.
And CNN is reporting she's got 27.
Okay, yeah, so I see 27 for Harris. I see 99 for Trump. As that continues to shift from the East Coast over to the West Coast, and the East Coast still isn't pull-in, just assume the blue wall is going to hold. I believe. I don't think that we're going to have any kind of. I don't think we're going to have any kind of surprises over there. So I'm not really, doubling down on that. Little crypto update because I think it's funny. Spice, guys, so don't worry about tipping us tonight because I'm up about $4,000 since we started this stream. Right there on that silly little token. That's up 114.3% over the last 24 hours. I did put this out. All right, I did mention this one, and I know a couple of our podcast people actually jumped on that. I think Spantobi was one of them. So, yeah, that's kind of good news. Now, if you want to see which way Bitcoin and everybody else seems to be thinking the election is going, I think that that's a pretty good indication that they believe that it's swinging red. Now, you heard what I said when I started here. All right, it doesn't matter what you think, what you feel, what you believe. It matters what the group consensus is, and the group consensus in this case seems to think that Trump is going to be better for digital assets than than Harris is. Harris started piling into it after it turns out that she realized that there are millions and millions of people that are actually tied up into this. Suddenly, it became a thing. Suddenly, it became something that we have to talk about, something that we have to get behind because, we want these votes. And I saw the funniest damn article. I have to push that up there. Hang on, Bell. I got to scroll up here just a little bit because it's something that I pushed. What did you just send me? She has sent me so. The Navajo Nation president. Voters reportedly turned away as voting machines have malfunctioned in the great state of Arizona. Now, I'm going to continue to call it the great state of Arizona because I was born in Phoenix. I grew up right there in Phoenix, Arizona. So I'm deeply familiar with Arizona, their politics, all that other good stuff. I've been there for, that's where I started. Where was that damn thing? Oh, right here. So it's put out that Mark Cuban could replace SEC chair Gary Gensler if Kamala Harris wins. The funniest thing about all of this shit is how badly Mark Cuban shit the bed as far as this. Now, it's been pretty clear for anybody who's been paying attention that he's been a huge Kamala Harris advocate. Talking his just completely out of his ass about her. He's just absolutely enamored with her, and maybe perhaps he sees this as his way of getting an introduction into politics. I kind of think it's funny because he spends so much time attacking Elon Musk, and I gotta ask, I gotta ask Mark Cuban, aside from you getting lucky and selling during the .com, aside from that, man, really, what have you done? Aside from owning the Mavericks and buying a basketball team, what the fuck have you really done to, push forward the betterment of mankind? Because it doesn't seem like you've done a whole hell of a lot.
Appeared on Shark Tank.
And you're a reality TV star on Shark Tank, which I'm not knocking, by the way. I love Shark Tank. I think it's a fantastic show. But he was very, very out and completely out of the closet and apparently out of his element pitching for Kamala Harris. But he fucked up. And this was just released out there. Mark Cuban admits that he messed up when he said Trump supporting women aren't intelligent. He says they are actually very smart. Now, that's a hell of a pivot, Bell. I got to ask, I've already exposed myself. Which direction did you happen to go on this one, Bell? Did you did you vote a straight Democrat ticket up and down the line?
No, I didn't vote straight Democrat up and down the line. No.
Well, the good news is that Mark Cuban says that you're not actually ignorant. You're actually very smart. So it's kind of funny. I'm getting mixed messages here. I would just wish you would just pick a side, man, and double down on it. That's what we do here in American politics. We pick a side and we double down on it. Even when we get caught, even when our hand is caught in the cookie jar, we continue to double down on stupid because the one thing you can never, ever do is back up and reverse your position. And Mark Cuban just did that. So simply the fact that he released that statement tells me he's not really fit for anything. But, that's kind of it. He seems like he wants to get into politics now. He has money, but he just can't. He can't accept the fact that he's really done nothing with it. Aside from taking it and turning it into more money, which I'm a fan of, man, do that. But he doesn't get the notoriety that something like an Elon Musk gets, that somebody who puts satellites in space and catches gigantic skyscrapers with tongs. He doesn't really get that kind of notoriety. So it just feels like billionaire envy, if that was such a thing. And Mark Cuban saw this particular time out of every other time that he could have did it. He saw this particular time to support a completely empty suit fucking candidate. And I think it's going to burn him right to the ground. And it's just, I don't know. I feel better about myself just watching him absolutely self-destruct. All right. Another breaking news. According to reports, President Joe Biden will not attend Vice President Kamala Harris's election night watch party. He's not going to attend that one. Now, I'm still, down in the conspiracy theorist rabbit hole. I believe that everybody more or less knows how this entire election thing is going to fan out. So as far as a watch party and all that, I think it's more or less already predetermined. Anybody's going to cheat. They know how they're going to do it. So this is more or less just election night silliness, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen from like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow. That's whatever kind of bullshit is going to come up. It's going to happen there, because they already did it before and it already worked before. So you don't change what works. You just double down on it and dare anybody to call you on it. So I think we're kind of I think we're kind of there, but I don't know. Anyway, Belle, do we have any other questions, comments, concerns, or observations? Is there anything out here? Because it feels like I'm just talking into a microphone and I'm not really talking to anybody. Do we got anything?
All right. So Chris from Fight Farm chiming in earlier. We are in the mega dependent stage. The COVID era was that final push down the drain of full dependence. As the economy fails, most people will seek assistance from government or just fizzle out to death.
And they're always going to, dude. Look, you and I are. I don't want you to lump you into my camp, dude. I'm more than happy to stand in the ring and take the punches, man. That's a choice that I make by every time that I go live and anything that I say to myself. So I don't exactly want to lump you into my camp, but yeah, dude. I don't. We're too far gone. I think we're too far gone as a nation, man. The testosterone in this entire country just got tuned way the hell down. And I don't think anybody actually wants to stand here by themselves and say, you know what, I don't need you. I don't need you, government. And the COVID thing definitely put a lot of people in their place. So I agree with you. I understand where you're going with that. And yeah, I happen to agree with that. I think deep down people would rather just be locked down. They'd rather just sit there in their house, cruise around on the internet, play PlayStation, and just hope that the food truck comes by and drops them off something to eat. I like to think that most people, or I don't like to, but I believe that most people would just prefer that kind of thing, because then they can just wring their hands and say, what are we going to do? What do you want me to do, man? If you go outside, you're just going to drop dead. So I think a lot of people would prefer that type of a lifestyle as opposed to the one where if you don't work, you don't eat. I don't think a lot of people like that, but that's just me. Anyway, carry on.
All right, Zazo Think Tank. Actually, regardless of regime changes, do you think Janet Yellen stays? That is going to drive bigger, that it is going to drive bigger long-term outlooks?
Janet Yellen, dude, that's a tough one. Of course, I have my own opinion there, and I think that she's done what she's going to do. I don't think there's anything really special that's going to come out of that. And anybody that gets up there that's been in a position like that for as long as they've been in there, you know what? You got dirt on people. People got dirt on you. That's just, that's just government the way it is. Do I think that she's going to get cleared out? Yes, I think she should be. I think there's no innovate. There's nothing new over there. So yeah, I think she should get cleared out. I think Gensler should be cleared out. I think the bulk of everybody up there in the government realm should be cleared out. I think we're overstaffed and underworked, and when you get people that are up there that you give a modicum of authority to, and they get bored, they're going to come up with a reason for them to maintain their job. I think our government is about 80% too big. I think it's wildly overmanned. And when you get people up there that get bored, they're just going to come up with ways to fuck with your life. So I think we need an absolute just a complete head count, and just start slashing and burning. I don't believe it's going to happen. They are entrenched, and they can make your life absolutely miserable. I'm waiting for mine, guys. Look at the kind of app that we built. Look what we released. By the way, I'd love a show of hands out there. How many of you guys have actually used Aegis, and it's on your phone and it's going to become part of your life? How many of you guys have actually downloaded this app and have tried it out? And if you haven't, it's available over on the podcast Discord. Right now, it's free. Doesn't cost you shit. That's the whole thing. As far as barriers to entry, there you don't have one, man. Knock yourself out. We built it And the reason that we built it, I think it's probably pretty clear from this stream which direction I go, which direction I lean, and why we would build an app like this. But yeah, dude, you're talking about entrenched people, and the war is always going to be government against the people who are aware of what the government is doing. That's going to kind of be the kicker. We got anything else, Bell? Or we got?
Oh, we've got one more.
Okay, go.
So, G. Torres, by what margin will Trump win Pennsylvania? Assuming he wins there, I mean.
If he wins Pennsylvania, he should win it 60-40. That would be something that I would consider realistic. I know what they're doing. I understand what the Democrats have been doing. I understand their whole war game, guys. Look, we've been doing this shit. Me and Bell have been doing this shit for a long time. We know exactly what they're doing, and right now they've been effectively running a gaslighting campaign, and people are aware of it. That's the thing, man. Look, the contempt, the amount of contempt that the Democrats hold people in is it's a little bit shocking, and but fuck, man, there's just no good way to say this. Yeah, it's look, dude, they ever since we started categorizing people, man, this thing has just gotten out of hand. Everything has just gotten completely out of hand because everybody has to be lumped into a category. That's it. Because you're not actually a person to them. You're just a member of a collective. And that's the way they see it. That's the way they want it. That way people can be easily controlled, easily manipulated. We know what to do with you. And it's not American, at least not my America. I don't want to be categorized. And I like to think that I'm not, even though somewhere on some spreadsheet, Scott Pottigill shows up and that's the way he is. And we know how to play the fiddle to get him to do what we need him to do. But it's amazing to me how much they scream for individual autonomy and yet go out of their way to classify every single person. It's amazing. The do as I say, not as I do type of environment that these people seem to exist in, that they absolutely do believe that, man, that you're the most intelligent person on earth until you vote. And then once you vote, you are simply inert matter. You're vegetation, just waiting for the mighty hand of government to sweep in and tell you that you need to grow here. This is how much sunlight you need. This is how much water you need for you to flourish. As if you are simply incapable of making a decision for yourself. And it shocks me that even to this day, this is how it is. That you're simply vegetative matter. And I don't understand how we got this far. I don't understand how we fell this far down. And most people are okay with it. You should be fucking insulted. You should be just absolutely enraged by the way that you were treated by your own goddamn government. But for some reason, we continue to just accept it. You know why? Because it gets too big. It's too big for one person, Bell. That's it. That is literally the reason. That's my opinion, is that it's simply too big for one person to do anything about. So we accept our fate. We say there is nothing we can do about it, so we're just going to hide and hope that the hawk just flies on by where we're actually burrowing and that they don't notice us. That seems to be the idea of what's going on out here. At least that's the way that I see it. I don't know if I'm right. What do you think, Belle?
You know, because I am libertarian, one of the tenets I believe in is actually smaller, more localized government. There is so much overreach by our federal government. It's ridiculous. That bothers me on several different levels. For example, okay, you have Medicare, which provides health insurance for retired or disabled citizens. But Medicare is so heavily overseen by the federal government that a lot of things get missed, and it puts our seniors at a severe disadvantage. Okay, some drugs which are life sustaining, these poor farmers who are trying to get out there and still work can't because Medicare won't cover them. Okay. Again, I'm in favor of states being able to have their own Medicare and apply it to whatever the people in the states decide. There's so many issues I see, and we got to change things.
Yeah, well, I think I've pretty much resolved myself to the fact that that's not going to
I
happen.
know, I
Uh,
know. It's my hope though, so don't completely kill it.
I'm not going to beat the hell out of it. I could. I'm not going
I
to.
know, I know.
These agencies and most of these government agencies, they exist to find problems to solve. They didn't. There might have been an issue at one time, and they came up with an agency. But the one thing that the government never does is cut agencies. They only grow them. All they do is become more. And even once they solve the problem that they were created to solve, they're going to go out and look for other problems. That's it. So they are a solution going out and looking for a problem and pissing away your money while they do it. So there you go. 53% of the vote is in Georgia, and they're still not going to call anything. Georgia
No.
will not be called tonight. I don't believe that. Arkansas has been called. Projected winner Donald Trump. Come on, flip the frame, guys. ABC, man, what are you going to do? There was never really any question. Currently, 27 electoral votes for Kamala Harris, 105 votes for Trump. The more I start to see this stuff, the more I'm starting to become convinced that there's some fuckery that's going to happen right here. They're going to push it all out there, Trump, 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 and then at the last minute, in comes Harris and all of these fucking votes that showed up at 1 a.m.
They did that last time.
And
They're
it
gonna
worked
they're
last
gonna
time.
try and do it again. Yes.
And it fucking worked last time. You don't change what works. The Army PSYOPs manual 115.14. It's literally available for you to peruse at your leisure. It's up on Wikipedia. Yeah, you don't change what works. And it worked last time. It'll fucking work this time. They can be much more surgical with it. And there you go. Anyway, Bob, I actually want to get to this and I want to eat some pizza. So let's go ahead and wrap this one. Any other world, we'd be streaming this out until midnight. But I don't want to bore people. And I understand that people want to go their own direction. Do we have any more questions, comments, concerns, or observations?
We do.
Okay,
So,
hit them.
Black Tornado, what are your thoughts on electoral college versus popular vote?
Popular vote, I will never, ever, ever support the popular vote. I understand the democratic process, but I also understand that we are a republic. And the fact that we're a republic means that my vote has to count. Now, the popular vote is simply the 51% deciding how the 49% are going to live. That's not what we are, man. We are a democratic republic, a constitutional republic. And if you'd like to change that process, if you'd like to change any of that, there is a process for it. Simply follow the process. Now, if it gets to the point where I feel too oppressed, I'm just going to leave, dude. All right, I can do that. I'm in cryptocurrency, all right? My cryptocurrency functions anywhere in the world. So as long as the process is followed, I'm fine with it. But a democracy will never survive, and it never has. A democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. And a republic is a well-armed sheep contesting the vote. And I believe that that's where we need to be. So I understand all of the say on the electoral college and how it's outdated and we don't need that anymore. I say that's absolute horseshit from the top down. And if you got a problem with it, there is a process to change it. Simply follow the process. If you want it to go to popular vote, then that's fine. But all of the farmers and all of the people that maintain your lifestyle, that provide the food, the sustenance that allows you to live, are going to fucking leave. All right? They're out of here. And in that case, you're going to count on the state to raise your grain, to grow your corn, to grow the things that allow you to survive. And if you think the state can do it, do a little research, because it's been tried everywhere, and 300 million starved dead people seems to suggest that they can't do it. I believe in the Electoral College. It needs to happen. If it wasn't, then there would be no point in me living in this country because I have no vote whatsoever, because I am voting against the cities. I am voting against the people who exist because I live in an agrarian state that provides them sustenance. And in that case, no, man, I'm absolutely out of there. Good luck with your journey. Belle, please carry on.
All right. So, Zazo Think Tank, aside from Bitcoin moving based on expectations, what do we think is causing the large price moves in Flix? I love it and not complaining, but was surprised to see the moves.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea, dude. And I talk to the Flix guys every day. All right, look, man, we're communicating every single day. I don't want to be broadcasting this to YouTube. I want to broadcast this to OmniFlix, but it's not ready yet. So what I'm saying is I'm talking to these guys constantly. I have no idea what's causing those wild fluctuations. I would be a little bit more concerned if I wasn't in Spice. So I'd be a little bit more concerned if I wasn't sitting right there just watching cash go up, man. I'm so fucking smart, Bell. I can't explain it. Now, the only real portion of that I'm in is there's a little farm right over here on Astrovault called Flix. And what you do here is you put your AXV into this pool right here. I think about $25,000 of that is mine, so I'm the one harvesting it at 17%, and it spits Flix out the other side. So go Flix. I'm paying nothing for it. But I want it to keep going up, up, and up. I cannot explain it. I don't know. There was no big announcement. There's no big tech innovation. They didn't revolutionize blockchain. For some reason, it's worth 30% more today than it was yesterday. So I wish I had an answer for you, brother. I don't. Belle, please carry on.
Stick. Any infos on Arch? Chart looks almost identical to Juno.
No, Arch is dead. I wish it would do something. Unfortunately, it's got a large coupling to a token that I'm very, very vested in, which is Jackal. It has another large coupling with another token that I'm very, very vested in. It's called AXV. I wish they would do something, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're out of ideas. It's a bunch of kids, man. And I think they all got together. They thought, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And they got a whole shitload of funding because they know people. They're really, really good fundraisers. But when it actually came time to produce and do something, they fucked it right into the ground. And I think they're hell-bent on taking everybody down with them that they possibly can. I saw Griffin's post today. He was putting something out, and his big gripe was that they're not mentioned on the IBC Hub webpage. That's your concern, dude? You should be able to stand on your own 2 feet now, man. It shouldn't have anything to do with it because you've been live for years and you have done absolutely nothing to it, nothing with it. You had all of the opportunity in the world to actually build something and you didn't. But now you're going to blame the IBC Hub because Archway's not mentioned on your fucking webpage, dude. Is that where it is? Aegis isn't mentioned on your webpage, and I think we have more users than you do right now.
And
I'm
they
not
got
bitching about that.
called out for that, by the way. I
Yeah,
didn't call them out, but yeah.
I saw Joe's post on that, man. Joe was hard. I was like, fuck, dude, you go, man. You go, girl. Yeah, he called him out harsh on that one. But yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Today is election day. Belle, carry on. If we got anything else, go.
We don't have any more questions.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys a chance here to get up. We're going to be wrapping up here real soon. Don't take off. We got some more polls that are closing real soon. I want to announce them. But I would love, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please get them in. Don't be afraid, man. I'm not going to attack you if you have a position different than mine. I don't care. What we're looking for is dialogue, man. The podcasts exist always to talk with people, not to talk to people. So if you have some concerns, please get them my way. Let me address them. Don't sit there and let it stew. Don't let it sit there, plant that seed and you're going to grow a hatred for me because of something you should have asked, but you never did. Please get it in. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and let's play one more song while we see if anybody's going to pop in. I think this is another very, very appropriate song for this night. Belle's already in share. She gets to hear the whole thing. So how about some Accept, guys? We haven't played this one, I don't think, ever on the podcast. Let's go ahead and spin it up right now. Enjoy. We're going to wait for everything else to come in, and we're certainly going to let you know when we get it right here on KPOD, the Podocasts. Welcome back to KPOD, the podcast, the finest in election coverage. Bella, I'm not gonna lie. I had a wonderful time tonight. I really did. God, I miss this. I miss a time when we could just be opinionated and do our thing without really being tore up. And I've had a wonderful time tonight. I sure hope you did, Belle. Did you enjoy it? Do you miss this? I miss it, and I really do.
I do miss this actually. It's not often that yeah, we can actually have philosophical discussions about the Tytler cycle among many other things.
you
I
know,
mean,
I,
yeah.
I you know I didn't go allegory of the cave, even though I should have. Plato summed this up for us wonderfully a long, long time ago. I think around 400 BC. So yeah, he was already all over this shit. But I don't mind. I don't mind climbing on his back and spitting it out as if it was original thought. If nothing else, you gotta give me credit for that. I don't do that. I don't jump on other people's. I don't jump on other people's floats and say that I was the one who invented it. I just, it resonates with me, so I put it out, and that's kind of it. Look, I'll be completely brutally honest with you guys. In any kind of reasonable or rational world, neither of these candidates would be up there right now. I don't think either of them are really worthy to run the world.
No.
Not Donald Trump, and certainly not. Certainly not Kamala Harris. I think they're both. Harris is completely a political creature, and Trump is a cult of personality. So I don't think either of them are really worthy. The only person I would really trust up there right now with the nuclear keys and managing this and interfacing with all these world leaders. The only person I really trust to do all this is me. And I don't think anybody's going to vote for me, most likely, if no, for no other reason because I'm an unknown, but mostly because I smoke dope. And once you start smoking pot, you're lumped over there with like Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong and all that other stuff. But I actually know how to get things done, but it's nobody's gonna vote for me, man. They're not. I wouldn't carry anything because my whole platform would be, I'm here to get government out of your way. I want people to flourish, and I think people flourish best when they don't have an iron boot on the back of their neck, and nobody's gonna vote for that. They don't want it anymore. We are way, way, way past the point of individuality and self-reliance. We're done with that until we have some kind of real massive spiritual awakening. We're not going to get that. I think we're all kind of cool with being ruled. I think that's maybe that's the natural evolution of mankind. I don't know. It seems to be over the last 2,000 or 2,200 years. That seems to be the natural inclination of mankind. And who am I? Who am I that's going to change that? But, it's fun getting back in here into the rough house and our wheelhouse and all that other good stuff. I see that we've ran basically everybody off. People can't even talk about it. And the fact that as soon as you start leaving the reservation in the least, in just the smallest sense or smallest state, people go to pieces. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't want to listen anymore. But you know what? It is what it is. So I would ask you if there's any questions, Belle. I can see that as well as you, that there simply are not. I had a wonderful time tonight. I sure hope you did, Belle. Did you enjoy it? Was it worth your hour and 48 minutes to sit here and just indulge ourselves?
I did enjoy this evening.
Okay. Well, this one won't get a whole hell of a lot of replays. As it sits right now, Harris has 27 votes. Trump has 105. They're setting you up for a fuckery. And come tomorrow, all you're going to see, there will be no calls tonight. There will be nothing saying that this is our president-elect. That's not going to happen. This thing is going to drag out for weeks and weeks and weeks. It works very, very well for the media. It works very, very well for the talking heads. And I think everybody's kind of okay with that. So tonight is the breads and circuses. And after this, we get to let the lawyers sort out who's actually going to be your next president. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off, Belle. I know we were gonna play Queen. We Are the Champions. I'll play it for you here, dear, after we cut it off. For those of you who stuck with us this entire time, hope you guys had a wonderful time. This is what we used to do, and we used to do it. We used to be pretty harsh. All right, there. I'm just gonna leave it there. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you had a wonderful time. Bell, if you could, please, madam, talk us up, talk us out. Scott will be back tomorrow at 0900 to tell you that we still don't have a president. But yeah, that's it. Bell, go ahead and get us out of here.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who stuck with us this evening, we cannot say thank you guys enough. I know this was a different stream for you guys, and if you stuck around, thank you. Scott is going to be back on the air tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. In between now and 9 a.m., if you guys have any other comments, questions, or concerns, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either Scott or myself, Scott at ThePodocasts.com or Bella at ThePodocasts.com, and we'll get those answered for you. Again, can't thank you enough, guys, and we'll see you in the morning.
We are dropping new videos and podcasts every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And be sure to look for us on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at The Podocasts. Also, visit our page at thepodcasts.com, all one word, for all